very basic essence, the universe is truth. We can deny the existence of asteroids, they're still going to hit us. We can deny the existence of weather patterns, they're still going to affect us. And yet, it's still going to be, and the physics that go along with that are still going to govern our lives. And the truth is the truth. If you just think about it for a minute, if you're doing the wrong thing, that means that you're getting yourself on the wrong side of the universe. You're getting yourself on the wrong side of truth. And since truth is always going to win, what's going to happen to you if you don't live a virtuous, upright life? So there's that cost. There's also the cost to yourself, though. What could you do with that time? And what could you do with the lesson of do it right the first time, get things done well the first time? Now, how could that make you better in life if that's the pattern that you establish in your life? People are oftentimes waiting for this. They're waiting for someone else to save us, someone else to put us on the right track, somebody else to put us in the right direction. Well, I would do better if my classes were more interesting. If only I could be saved by a more interesting teacher, or if I could be saved by a more interesting subject, as though somehow the world exists to save us and to serve us. The world exists to give us a place to live in, and then you have a lot of nice people who give us opportunities, meaning the people who provide for us to be here. Taxpayers, sure. Parents, sure. Anybody who contributes in some way to make this place operate, absolutely. And yet we sit there, we fold our arms and we say, but I am not entertained. As though the focus of life is entertainment. As if the purpose of life is entertainment rather than achievement. Save yourself, man. Or better yet, be someone who doesn't need saving. Be someone who's so damn strong that you don't need saving. Be someone who's built themselves up so much that all you need is a field to play on, man. An arena to participate in, a stage to dance on, a place to work and to exercise your talents. Or better yet, when we say, you shouldn't, don't judge me. When a person says, oh, you shouldn't judge me, you shouldn't judge people, just tell them, you're right. You're right. You're a very smart, wonderful, fantastic person. I shouldn't be judging you. And they'll probably say, thank you. What did you just do? You judged them. You just judged them positively. We don't like the negative judgment. We like the positive judgment. Even if the positive judgment is something positive that we know is wrong. It's kind of like some of the worst advice that you can ever give a person, and it's probably the most common advice that people give when they don't know what advice to give, which is, just do what makes you happy. People will come to you and say, I don't know what I should do. Should I go this way or should I go that way? Should I do that? You know what, just do what makes you happy. I'm like, thank you. That's the person who didn't want advice in the first place. They just wanted to be listened to. But man, think about the kinds of things that make you happy. I think you're going to realize that the things that make us happy are the very things that so often are going to lead us just headfirst into harm because they feel good or because it's like a Band-Aid at that moment. Think about the things that we enjoy doing. Think about the stuff that we like eating. How often is the stuff that we like eating really good for us? So much of our food comes from cellophane wrappers, and there's almost nothing good that comes from that. And yet, for many people, that's like 90% of their diet, if not 100% of their diet. And then someone comes along and points that out to us, it's like, we just don't want to hear it. Why? Because, it just feels too good. That's what I wanted to eat. Well, there's a problem when the things that you want are so separate and distinct from the things that you need. Life and wisdom and even intelligence using the knowledge is being able to get all of those things in alignment. Knowledge is to know what's good for you. Intelligence is to be able to use that knowledge to bring it into focus. And wisdom is making those little decisions here and there to get everything in alignment. Because most of us don't know what's good for us. I mean, kind of, but we don't. I'm sorry, I should scratch that. We don't know what we need, but we know what's good for us. And look at how much of our lives is spent trying to get around the obvious, to manipulate situations, to try to bring about some end that we really want to bring about, because we think we know what's best, and yet long term, how often is that the best? For example, think about when we lie about situations. Why are we lying? because we're trying to get out of a situation. We're trying to manipulate a situation to create an outcome. And yet, is that outcome really the best thing for you? You can't go wrong by doing the right thing. It's only this I don't know, you say almost like this arrogance, this selfish arrogance on our part to think, I know what the best outcome is for me, especially for everybody else. As you were saying earlier, when you create that emotional dependence. It's only an arrogance that says, if I lie about this, I can create this ultimate outcome and everything will be great. We have no idea if things are going to be great, but what you do know is that if you get there by the proper means, you really can't go wrong. I mean, you look around and you understand that you live in a universe that doesn't care at all about our opinion of it. The universe is governed by rules and facts, by truth. I mean, the universe, if you really think about it, down to its very basic essence, the universe is truth. We can deny the existence of asteroids. They're still going to hit us. We can deny the existence of weather patterns. They're still going to affect us. We can deny anything. We can deny that the Earth is spherical, and yet it's still going to be, and the physics that go along with that are still going to govern our lives. And the truth is the truth. The truth is the truth. We can do so much of what we want to do to try to get around that, and yet, I wonder, have you ever really gone wrong by doing the right thing and by doing the true thing? You might say, well, yeah, because one time I told the truth, and I ditched school, and my mom asked me, I told her, and I got in trouble. What was the first thing wrong in that? You did the wrong thing in the first place. So you had to try to cover it up with a lie. So much of our lives are geared towards that, thinking that we know how best to manipulate the world to bring about an outcome that we want. And yet, again, the truth is the truth. The truth is always going to win. Now, as much as I might believe in anybody in here, if it's between you and the universe, I'm going to bet on the universe. It's like when people say it's you, me against the world. Shit. You're in deep trouble. Because the world is big and has all the time in the world. The world has all the time in the world. And it might be a hopeless endeavor. That's true. And maybe you are right, perhaps. But so often you're going to find that we put ourselves in these really ugly positions from which we need to be saved because we don't do the right thing. Doing the wrong thing, we think, makes us strong. But no, if you just think about it for a minute, if you're doing the wrong thing, that means that you're getting yourself on the wrong side of the universe. You're getting yourself on the wrong side of truth. And since truth is always going to win, what's going to happen to you if you don't live a virtuous, upright life? You might think, well, I'll win in the end, because some people do. Dude, how often, man? Like, genuinely, how often? And then you think about, you might know some people who you think get ahead a little bit, but you have no idea how far they've gotten behind by behaving the ways in which they do. It's like when we see, something that you guys will understand. I hate saying stuff like that, but when you get older, you'll understand that if you think that you're tricking your parents with a bunch of stuff, you're probably not. Your parents probably, by and large, know what's going on. They, by and large, probably know who we are. The really shitty thing is when you think you're getting away with stuff because you're not getting called out on it, and then they'll let you continue to get away with it. Because what that's indicating is they just don't want to make a deal out of it because they're just too tired. It's just too much of a hassle. And that means that the way in which you're living is creating so much of a hassle for them that they just don't want to be involved anymore. That sucks. I hate to say that, man. It's the same with teaching. You think that students get away with everything? No. We just sit there and go, man, if I ran around and kicked every barking dog, I would never have time for the good ones. So what do? Well, you manage it. And you let the people who are jackasses be that, and you let them, you let life catch up with them. That's why I can honestly say, I've never been surprised when I come across students years after graduation. I'm never surprised by the ones who end up where they end up. And that doesn't mean that I sit there and say, oh, all the A students, I knew they'd end up in great jobs. No, I have students who failed my class. I have students who got D's in my class. And yet you look at them and you say, but they're going somewhere, man. They've got something. School might not be for them, or maybe this class is not for them, but there's something that's there. And you come across them a few years later and they're doing something really wonderful. You come across students who did very, very well, and they got A's, and where are they? Are they like in some really shitty middle management job that they hate? Why? Because they cheated their way through. And that got them in that was good enough to get them in the crappy position in life, but not to excel past that, because again, the universe always finds out, the truth always catches up with us. And so you're gonna suffer. You already know that life is suffering, so what are you gonna suffer for? For doing the right thing? Or are you gonna suffer for doing the wrong thing? Because doing the wrong thing is guaranteed, man. It's guaranteed. And yet what will we do? Well, oftentimes we will blame people. I genuinely hear people blame teachers because we don't call you out for all of your cheating and and everything that you do wrong. Well, then why they don't care? Let's get away with it. No, it's not that we don't care. It's that there's, not except for this class, 38 of everybody in all of my classes. And you have any idea how long it takes time-wise to track down all that stuff? How about not being such a selfish prick and thinking about that? And thinking about how much time it takes. Like for some of you, you're the good kids. And I really mean that. Like you do everything right and blah, blah, blah. And one thing you're going to find is that, good example, tardies and truancies, and you have to go to Saturday school to make up all the absences and lates and all that stuff. You know how much they pay teachers to do Saturday schools? It's almost $200 per teacher just to sit at a desk and do what we're going to do anyway. And how many teachers you hear on Saturday schools? 7, 8? That's $1,500 a week. Think about that. That's what? $6,000 a month. What could we do with $6,000 a month? I can tell you what we used to do with it. We used to use that money to offset the cost of AP exams. We used to use that money for field trips. And yet we don't use that money for that stuff anymore because the need for the people who do the wrong thing has exploded. And you see that in society. This is just a microcosm of that. This isn't to make anybody feel bad or to feel terrible. It's to say, look at this as a microcosm of the rest of society. Now, how many people in society are actually contributing versus how many people are the ones who are attending Saturday schools every week, as it were, in life? And it's difficult. Why? Because of what you could do. That's what it is. It isn't just that you're costing society so much or you're costing school so much. It's that you're costing yourself so much of what you could be and what you could do. And it's something that it's unrealized potential, man. Like I was thinking about, I never saw the movie The Blind Side. Have any of you guys ever seen that movie? Never seen it, but the guy who the movie's based on is a football player. I can't remember where he's from. I want to say he's from Detroit or something originally. I can't remember where exactly he's from, but I heard this interview with him, and it just blew me away because he said it with such conviction. He was saying that where he grew up, that there are so many people from his old neighborhood, and this is a guy who played in the NFL at a high level. He said that he grew up with people who he believes were better than the people who he played against in the NFL. And he said then well, then what the hell happened to them? Why didn't they get there? Because they got sidetracked. Family problems, drugs, gangs, getting in trouble, getting arrested. All of these things completely sidetracked their potential. Instead of being people who were making tens of millions of dollars a year, or better yet, even if they didn't go into pro athletics, if they took that same work ethic and put it into business or put it into a career, what they could have been, but instead they're in and out of jail. And it's not just, it's a drain on society, and that's terrible because when all that stuff has to get paid for, and that gets paid for by people who work, and meaning that when you work, and many people get this if you already work, it takes money away from how much you actually earned. Meaning that you work a whole bunch for free, basically, when you pay taxes, and that goes towards people who are not. And that's hard, man. It's a hard thing to get your head around because we just see it kind of go away. But when you understand that, that's real money, but beyond even just that, like thinking about the person who's running afoul like that of what they could have been. And I don't know, man. I feel like there's an awareness in a lot of people that there's something more that you could have been. Even as you sit in a classroom, there's so much more of what you could be. Like maybe there's a subject that interests you, but you just don't do anything in there. well then you never get to use it. You'll never get to apply it. And it becomes a huge, colossal waste. And then you end up having to retake the class after school, during a credit recovery. What could you be doing during that credit recovery time? Something that's going to actually make you better, something that you actually enjoy, something that actually adds to your life. Because what do you do if anyone here has done credit recovery, I don't know if you have yet, but what do you do in credit recovery? You just get a packet and you fill in blanks. And you have to be there for, I think, 20 hours or 30 hours. And that's just a colossal waste of time. And then you sit there and what do they, if anybody knows, what do they pay teachers to do that? $5,000 per credit recovery class. $5,000 per teacher, per class for credit recovery. What could we do with $5,000 per credit recovery class? A few $100,000 a year. Where could that money go into school? So there's that cost. There's also the cost to yourself, though. What could you do with that time? And what could you do with the lesson of do it right the first time, get things done well the first time? Now, how could that make you better in life if that's the pattern that you establish in your life? We're always waiting for this, man. Not necessarily us, but people are oftentimes waiting for this. They're waiting for someone else to save us, someone else to put us on the right track, somebody else to put us in the right direction. Well, I would do better if my classes were more interesting. If only I could be saved by a more interesting teacher, or if I could be saved by a more interesting subject, as though somehow the world exists to save us and to serve us. The world exists to give us a place to live in, and then you have a lot of nice people who give us opportunities, meaning the people who provide for us to be here. Taxpayers, sure. Parents, sure. Anybody who contributes in some way to make this place operate, absolutely. And yet we sit there, we fold our arms and we say, but I am not entertained. As though the focus of life is entertainment. As if the purpose of life is entertainment rather than achievement. But no one else can save you. Not really. Not from yourself. Why don't I stand above you in here? Come on, get to work. You can do this. Oh man, but you have so much potential. That can't save you. Not from yourself. I could force you to work, kind of, by telling you to do things, and you'd be, and you just do it mechanically. But man, you don't learn anything real. You don't do anything real. And you still exist. Meaning that you might be forced in a certain situation, but you don't develop the ability to be self-motivated, which is you actually need that in life. You don't need the skill of being obedient necessarily. I guess so. I mean, for if you're gonna have a low-level job, I suppose. But man, not to be what you could be. Not to be what you could be. So, no one's coming, man. No one's coming to save you. People are coming to use you. People will come along, but bosses will come along and tell you get to work or you're fired because they want to use you. They're not interested in your development. But of course, why would they be? You're not interested in their business. You're not interested in yourself. You're not interested in your boss's well-being. Yeah, I guess you have that teacher who comes along and tries really hard to entertain you, but why? Do you try really hard to make the class entertaining as well? Do you do what you can do to make their life better? I know of students who are complaining to me recently because one of their teachers is not friendly, doesn't say hello to them when they walk in. That's so funny. I asked them, well, what do they say when you say hello? Well, we don't bother. Why not? Well, they don't say hi. You see the problem there? So, save yourself, man. Or better yet, be someone who doesn't need saving. Be someone who's so damn strong that you don't need saving. Be someone who's built themselves up so much that all you need is a field to play on, man. An arena to participate in, a stage to dance on, a place to work and to exercise your talents. But that's young. That's your call. I think you came out of nowhere at me. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, criticisms, critiques? Happy Monday.